Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday to you guys. Let's take a look at our trade plan from last night. Let's see here. All right, so right now the overnight session is a little bit two directional. It is one directional if you look at the last few hours, but overall it is two directional, right? You had a pretty strong trend up about the first half of the overnight, and then the second half is very one directional to the downside. Have a bit of a one time frame effect to the downside, every 30-minute low being taken out, every 30-minute high being protected since about the London Open, somewhere around like 4 a.m. We did retest that incomplete auction, which happened obviously because of Friday. Friday did not finish repairing that value high, didn't finish that retrace. So we did we did start an incomplete auction. We did not finish it on today's retest, so pretty bearish there. We are nearly finishing the retrace into Friday's value low, so keep an eye on that around 725. And then losing that, you're looking for the low of day, the Friday low of day. So right now we don't know if it's just going to rotate inside of Friday. We have to see that reaction on that value low. If it does not react and it just kind of breaks through it, then obviously we're not rotating. It's probably just going down into that low. But if it does find a lot of buyers around that 725, then we're probably just rotating this value here. Okay, so with that said, we're going to say holding above 725 and below 725 is our main trade plan. We would be looking for 800 and let's see here. Probably 816, finishing that incomplete auction. And then holding below, we're going to look for 700, that kind of prior node right there. And then 66. Okay, NASDAQ is exactly the same. Let's take a look at the levels here. So we're going to lower this down to that 44 level. We'll say 25,292 and 25,380. And then 44, we're going to look for 700 as well. We could probably raise that to like 750. where that node is. And the low at 626. We'll see if this one directional price action continues on the open here. Okay, so far that one time frame effect is still holding. You did break that prior 30-minute low. We'll see if it turns into a sweep. We have been seeing a lot of sweeps recently on the open, where they're trying to go like one direction. It looks pretty strong, but then it flips. Liquidity is really bad right now. Okay, here is that sweep. Let's see if they can stay above that level around 31. This is exactly what I was talking about, where that one directional price action is flipped at the open. Good morning, everybody. Going to back in future. Leo, Jeremy. Here's the trade plan for you guys. Good morning, Lulu, Banana, Patriot, Scott, AT, Lubomir, Darius, Ordinary, Astro. Good morning, Igor, JC, Michael. Good morning, Greg, Larry, Gunk, Jeremy, Lucio, Keegan, Roman, Victor, Adam, Music, Riso. Good morning, Trevor, Joan, Orion, Baja Music. Google deal would give opportunity to go higher. Google deal, let me see. I didn't see the headline on that. What's the deal? I didn't see that headline. Keep an eye on these 30-minute highs. They are very weak. There's not a lot of value protecting them. That sweep is still looking pretty good. You guys have a source for a Google deal? I don't see any headlines, like any major ones. Okay, this is that overnight fade going against that one directional price action since 3 a.m. 30-minute sweep started at 31 and continuing up 20 points already. 30-minute sweep confirmed by 2 pivots on the 1 minute. Confirmed by a 5-minute bull div. 15-minute pivot, 30-minute pivot. You guys are talking about like Berkshire Hathaway buying a large stake of Google. I see that headline. Hey, Tip, good morning. Good morning, Faraj. Priso. Here's VWAP. Keep an eye on VWAP. 61 and 160. Very common pattern we've been seeing recently. These morning sweeps. These morning, like, reversals. It shows you one way, then it goes another. Yeah, we are overnight fading the move since 3 a.m. The move was kind of two-directional on the overnight. So we're only going against the move from the London Open, basically. Well, music, you don't really have to think about it. It's already up like 5%, isn't it? So they're already pricing that in. It's already up almost 6%, actually. Those 1-minute pivots are doing very well. Came in at 728 on ES and 968 on NASDAQ, basically the low of day. There was a pivot right here on the sweep. Keep an eye on VWAP here, not showing a very strong reaction so far. But you do have a POC shift right on VWAP already. A ton of block trades coming in. Prices per tick, it's personal preference, really. You can use auto, which probably most people use. I prefer to use 2 points on ES. I don't really know what I have on NASDAQ. I don't look at it all the time. I think it's like 10 points or something like that. Yeah, I think it's 10 points on NQ. But yeah, it's really just personal preference, just finding what works. I think majority of people are probably just having it set to auto. Failing VWAP now. Kind of seeing that absorption on VWAP. Still showing absorption on this VWAP. They keep putting in block trades. They keep putting in a lot of delta, a lot of volume. But they are not able to hold above VWAP so far. So we're gonna have to start paying attention to the news again. We're gonna start having data coming out now that the government's reopened. This Wednesday we have FOMC minutes, which haven't really been doing anything recently. Thursday we got a bunch of employment data, so we'll keep an eye on that. And Friday we have PMI data. Trump is on the schedule later today, but it's after the close, so doesn't matter too much. Yeah, I saw some headlines about that, but all that stuff's like the boy who cried wolf with me. I just don't even pay attention to it. It's like the bubble stuff, right? People just keep saying it over and over and over again, and it just never happens. It gets tiring at a certain point. Same thing with the recession headlines, the housing headlines. I mean, you name it. It's like every bearish narrative is the same. It's all the boy who cried wolf. Holding on to the ADMA here, trying to finally hold above VWAP. So this is the exact reaction that I was talking about on the trade plan. We did not know, was it going to rotate Friday, or are we just ignoring Friday and continuing lower, right? Now, obviously, in hindsight, we have the answer. It is rotating Friday. So you bounced off that value low, being protected damn near to the exact tick. Same thing on ES, damn near to the exact tick. And now we are just rotating Friday again. So Friday's value high is around 93. So here is today's value high, around 73. If it does not see the reaction there, then look for 93. Furry has called 25 of the last 1 crashes, yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, you just never know what is real and what isn't when it comes to bearish narratives, because there's a bearish narrative every week. And obviously the market doesn't go down every week. It's the most obvious in crypto, right? I'm sure you guys have family members that do this. It's like every time crypto goes down, they're like, oh, I told you it was a scam. I told you the whole time it was a scam. Oh yeah, did you tell me it was a scam when it went from 10,000 to 150,000? Or whatever the high was? What was the high on Bitcoin? 130,000? Yeah, sorry, it was a scam when it 15x. That's my bad. You'll realize after being in the market for a couple crashes here and there, Just trade what you see, right? Don't try to predict stuff like that. Keep an eye on the prior high here at 75. A little bit of a point of origin there, not the strongest level. That is also the value high, 73. Breaking out of this VWAP and this POC node here, kind of extending the upper tail. Okay, here's the 73 level. This is the value high of today. So if we're just rotating today's value, it's going to stop here, right? But if it's still respecting Friday, it's going to keep going until 93. This is also the POC of Friday, so pretty major level. This is also the 30-minute trail. Pretty much the high to the tick right here, 30-minute trail. We'll see if we can maintain that red trail. Here are those pivots I was talking about. You had a 1-minute pivot on the low. There's kind of two pivots there. You had basically a one candle combo where you had that purple shading for one candle, and it was right where that pivot was. Same thing on NASDAQ, one candle combo, blue pivot. You did not have a 5-minute pivot, but you had a very obvious bull div. You do have a 30-minute pivot, but it's hitting the trail now. So keep an eye on that trailer at around 73. Same level we're watching on the value high. Turning into a little bit of a vertical distribution, but right now it is pretty aggressive, holding above that 80 MA. It does look like it could start chopping around the 24 soon, though. We'll keep an eye on it. Extremely wide opening candle here. Already trading about 50 points on the A session. That's kind of crazy. Liquidity is still very low. You can see the level 2 orders coming in, the blue orders. It's because our level 1 liquidity is only like 20 contracts. Not sure why it's so low. It wasn't too bad last week. Okay, here's exactly what I just said about the chop into the 24. We'll see if we can stay above this 24, possibly turning into a bit of a vertical distribution here. This will be the first major retest of that 24 since that sweep on the open. Good morning, HB. Trump on the schedule twice today? I thought I saw him once. Let me see. When else is he speaking? I have him at 6 p.m. So far, holding on to that 73 30-minute trail and the value high of today. If it is rotating today, it's looking for 41. We have overlapping POCs around 64 here. We have basically 3 POCs because this POC is pretty much the same level as well. So 3 POCs all around this level here. Yeah, they all overlap almost exactly where we are at 63. So be very careful trading here. It is a 50-50 zone. Same thing on NQ. Bunch of overlapping value around like 140. Yeah, 124 to be exact. We already talk about trading the extremes and trying to stay out of the middle. And that becomes even more of a problem when that middle is overlapping for multiple days, right? Not only do you have the 50-50 chop from today, it's from Friday, from Thursday. Possibly a lower high coming in here. Keep an eye on those VWAPs. By the way, for our final video, it should 100% be out this week. We're just probably going to have to push it back like maybe Thursday instead of Wednesday. But I'll keep you guys updated. It should 100% be out this week. It shouldn't be like a 2-hour long video like the volume profile one. So it shouldn't take too long to edit. We're going to aim for Thursday. If we absolutely have to, maybe Friday. But Thursday is kind of the goal. And then the final Q&A will be next Monday. And that will be it. We'll wrap it up for that series. Here's that lower high generating some sell pressure. These are the VWAPs we talked about. Keep an eye on holding below these VWAPs. Goes right back into that prior low. Not only a lower high, it's kind of a rollover top as well. But yeah, once this series is over, we're going to take a break from the long form videos. We're going to go back to more of the short form content. Doing the like 2 to 3 minute shorts on YouTube. And then some recap videos, maybe once or twice a week. And then after a few months, we'll go back to making some longer videos. Okay, keep an eye on the prior low here and the value low, which is the value low is basically already being hit. And then you have the prior low, because when you have a rollover top, it's like we always talk about VWAP and the prior low are the main levels to watch. So here's the value low at 41. Prior low would be basically anything down here that created the bottom. So I'd say around 40 down to 26. For how low the liquidity is, it's actually pretty trendy on the 1 minute. It's staying above or staying below the ADMA very consistently. It's a very smooth price action for how low the liquidity is. Typically, you get a lot of traps and a lot of sweeps, a lot of fake breaks, right? Not really seeing that today. It's doing a really good job. Like I said, staying above for the first move. Stayed above the ADMA the entire time. Then it lost it. Now you're below the ADMA. Look at how smooth it is on NASDAQ. Very smooth move here. So now we're getting right into that overlapping POC zone where all that chop is. Keep an eye on the VWAPs being retested here. Looks like we're just building up those overlapping POCs. You also have a very wide initial balance, which kind of goes into that in the afternoon or later in the day. It's hard to break and hold outside of that initial balance. So they do want to build up that overlap. A bit of a failure to rotate. Bouncing off that value low, not quite getting to the value high, and failing VWAP here. You can see the failure to rotate because you had that very clean move down, pushed back into the value low. It should have been a very clean move up. Like I was saying, it does a very good job holding above and below that ADMA. It was very trendy. But we did not have that clean move here. It hit VWAP, hit the 24, back below here. So this move right here, both on NASDAQ and ES, is a failure to rotate. They should have rotated back to the value high. It did not do that. So slight bearish bias here. Still just overlapping chop, holding inside of yesterday and Thursday. It's going to be really hard to find a significant bias here with this overlapping POC. We need to really hold above like 70 or hold below, let me see here, I'd probably say like 35. Probably 40. So holding below 40 or above like 75 to 80 would be breaking out of this overlapping POC. You've got three POCs kind of back to back here. It's unlikely because we have been seeing an afternoon break pretty much every single day. But we could be trading most of our value today inside of this A session, right? Between what, 75 and 25. POC and VWAP pretty much right in the middle of that A session, very slightly bullish bias towards the high. This POC is very, it's like glue, right? We're just stuck to it. It's very sticky. Where is the anchored VWAP here? Let's take a look. Pretty much the same level. A little bit higher. It's like 70. Yeah, if you guys are wondering why we're not very directional here, you can just see all the value from the volume or value from Thursday and Friday, just kind of overlapping in the same area. On the higher time frames, it's kind of a bearish bias because of this failure right there. You're kind of retesting all this value. We kind of had the same thing happen, if you guys remember, with that value flip back around the 70s. So we have this very large section of value being retested. Buyers don't like it too much. You really need to start holding outside of Friday's value. Sorry, what I was saying was we need to hold below the value low of Friday or the value high of Friday. Just start getting that one directional price action here. little bit of a bull div here. You have a higher low on delta, but a lower low on price. Just basically pulling us back to that that POC magnet. Nothing crazy here. Not a whole lot to commentate on, guys, when we're just going back and forth on a overlapping POC here. You're basically treating it as a wide D shape where the low of that overlapping POC is kind of a value low, then high of it's a value high. You're just kind of rotating back and forth until we have significant value building above, I would say like 70 to 75 or below the value low of Friday. This is the problem with the inside days, right? Yeah, I think it's also people are just waiting at this point because they're waiting on all the data we haven't gotten in what last 45, 50 days. Now that it's reopened, we're just gonna start getting a flood of data, right? We got data coming out this week, actually, at the end of the week, Thursday, Friday. Well, you don't look for bulldogs in a market like this because you're going to kind of see things that look like bulldogs when you're chopping on a POC. Bulldogs are like a bottom impulse reversal, right? Where you have like an impulse down and then it creates a bottom. You're not impulsing right now. This is just kind of a back-to-back chop. Not a very exciting Monday. Not a good way to start the week, I guess. Just sitting on the POC node over and over. Unfortunately, this does happen when you have these very wide A sessions, right? You had all the action come in the first 30 minutes. Yeah, we already talked about that earlier, Mauser. I don't really want to get into the rant again, but it's just a boy who cried wolf stuff where people, I mean, how many times have you guys heard that headline? Like this shit is it's just ridiculous at this point. It's like every month there's like a financial crisis happening. It's just ridiculous. One of the main reasons why I don't hold overnight on pretty much all of my trading accounts, whatever you want to call them. Obviously, except for like long term, like retirement stuff. Um, but one of the big reasons why I don't hold overnight is so I don't have to care about stuff like that, right? Yeah, there will always be a time where finally those people are right, but it loses all of its value when they're wrong 1,000 times to be right one time. Like I said, the boy who cried wolf, right? The wolf is going to show up eventually, but most people are not going to be prepared for it because they say it happens every day or every week. Still showing a very slight bearish bias, staying below the VWAP on every bounce back. Yeah, Sean, it definitely does look weak. We talked about it last week. I talked about how we're finally starting to see a crack in like the buy pressure, buyer bias, whatever you want to call it. We're starting to see a bit of a crack in this trend. We have a kind of a weak high into a lower high, so a little bit of a rollover top. We are holding below the daily trail, I believe. Yeah, daily trail and the daily pivot at around 780, 790. We are holding below that, so starting to look pretty weak. We have not held below this trail basically since April. Had a couple of times you bounced, you like retested it, bounced. But yeah, honestly, since April, since May, we've been in this uptrend. It's been pretty stable. Starting to look pretty weak. So maybe by the end of this week, maybe by the end of next week, we'll have a better idea of what it's going to do on the bigger picture here. But I wouldn't say it's bearish. I would just say the buyers are getting very weak. Like, look at the difference between October to now and then before October. Before October, from like May to October, it was very one directional. Now we're a bit two directional. Still seeing that slight bearish bias. We'll see if it actually shifts into an impulsive move. There is a wall here. There's a wall. Well, there was a wall. It got taken out immediately. There was a wall at 40. So far, this impulse is not getting any follow through. It started out pretty aggressive. They took out that wall and then sold back down to 35. Not seeing any aggressive sellers on the low here. Getting a little bit trendy here. You can see it's starting to respect that ADMA. Keep an eye on the value low here of Friday's value low, around 725. Holding below that, you have a couple of nodes that are acting as support, basically right below 725. Then you have one around like 700. And then you have that prior value. We'll see if it can actually stay below this A session low, because like I said, it's a very wide A session, so staying outside of it is a bit hard. Yeah, Wednesday you have the FOMC minutes and NVIDIA earnings, so I think the market's just kind of waiting. We got a lot of data coming out later this week as well, Thursday, Friday. So it's just one of those weeks where it's back heavy. Monday, Tuesday, not really a whole lot going on. Struggling to hold below that A session low here. It is trending or staying below that 80 MA. They're not finding the aggressive sellers on the low of day here. Need to find more sellers below 27. Yeah, I didn't see any wall at 30. There was a wall at 40 that got taken out. It got taken out pretty fast. You can see it right here. Took them about 30 seconds to take it out. Still holding that ADMA. Let's see if they can actually stay below this A session low here. All right, keep an eye on Friday's value low. It's right here at 25. Holding below that, you have the lower tail. There's a couple of nodes inside the lower tail. You have basically one right here, and then you have one a few points lower. Hitting Friday's value low on NASDAQ right now. Same thing, couple of nodes inside that lower tail. NASDAQ basically did fill in the incomplete auction, but ES did not. ES kind of tested it, ended up not filling it in. This goes back to the value retrace of Thursday. So we started that value retrace, we did not finish it. Definitely more impulsive now. You can see it's pushing pretty far away from that ADMA. Keep an eye on this 30-minute close. It's pretty early. We still have about 12 minutes left. But it will create single prints going back to 25 if it stays down here. Really big bullish block there, about 2,000 contracts at 15. The filter is 25. This one is filtered for 25. This one is filtered for 100. This one, I believe, is 10. The 100 one, this one is basically the block trade tape. So these are all block trades or like really big block trades. That's just a normal filtered tape. Not getting any follow through here on that bullish block. Keep an eye on this 30-minute close. You got about 9 minutes left. Hard to tell if there's a wall here with that block trade because we're not testing below it just yet. By the way, you can see how high our volatility is because I have this on a 1 point chart. Like every tick is a point, right? Every tick of my footprint is a point, and we're still moving pretty quickly. So very high volatility right now. A little bit of absorption on the low here. A lot of contracts coming in with that block trade, not going anywhere. You can see built up a pretty strong node. There's no tail. Keep it on that 24 EMA here. More block trades coming in, about 1,000 contracts at 20. When they come in like this, where it's like green and red on the exact same like millisecond, it's usually one trade. It's just reading it as two separate trades because of the slippage. Not a whole lot going on tomorrow, but it should pick up pretty quickly on Wednesday. The rest of the week is pretty active. If you guys are enjoying the stream, hit that like button. I know a lot of these days are not too exciting, but not a whole lot going on right now. If you guys haven't already, be sure to check out that series we've been working on. The final episode should be coming out hopefully this week. We're aiming for Thursday, possibly Friday. They are repairing this 30-minute candle. There is no chance of single prints as of right now. You have 3 minutes left. If they're below 25, there will be single prints. Another block trade here, starting to get a lot of block trades. We're obviously seeing follow through on that bullish block. Pretty much the low of day now. Bearish block coming in here. Keep an eye on a bear flag into VWAP. I wouldn't quite call this initial move a bear flag into VWAP. It was more so a failure to rotate. Because you didn't really have that flagging pattern. It didn't really have the impulse. You could have said it about the first move. So like this one here, you could have said that was a bear flag into VWAP. But all the other ones were more so just a failure to rotate. But this one, you have that obvious impulse. You have that strong impulse down. So this would be a bear flag into VWAP. Now, it is a bad variation where it's very aggressive. So be careful with that. It is a very aggressive move back into VWAP. Also turning into a 30-minute sweep. Here is that 30-minute close, and they will not have any single prints. Did a good job repairing that candle. So now we are back into rotation as long as it does not fail to rotate yet again on VWAP. If it can break back above VWAP, it is looking for that full retrace back into 71. Pretty strong wick. Sweeping the overnight lows, sweeping Friday's value lows, sweeping the low of day. Very strong wick. Just keep an eye on VWAP here. 47 and 53, and then 100, 131. Keep an eye on VWAP here. Retesting it so far, not seeing too much seller delta. Let's go ahead and switch to the delta chart here. Let's see if we're getting a lot of bullish delta above VWAP here, so above like 53, which we're currently not seeing. If we can keep seeing bullish delta into VWAP here, it's ignoring it and going for that rotation. And the rotation is around like 70. Yeah, 70. We're not really seeing a lot of bearish delta below VWAP here. You're trying to get the bearish delta, but it's being absorbed, right? The sellers are trying to push back below that 47. It's not going anywhere. So buyers are in full control here. I like looking at this chart, the 500 delta chart, when it gets to around VWAP or like value high, value low, gets to those important levels. You can see exactly how that delta's coming in. It's basically the exact same thing we're looking at on this chart. It just breaks it down a little bit more. Starting to see a little bit of bullish absorption here. Buyers getting stuck at 57. Higher delta, lower price. Yeah, if the delta was like really high, but price was still going down, it would be the buyers being absorbed. We're not currently seeing that right now, though. The delta is following price. Still not seeing a lot of bullish delta above VWAP here. You are technically still rotating, though. As long as you can stay above VWAP, it is still rotating back to 70. You don't want to stall here for too long, or it starts to look like a failure to rotate. It's just a delta chart. There's no ticks or range. It's just based on delta. So 500 delta, either positive or negative. Yeah, a little bit more for the cash rotation going back into like 67. I think the full session's like 70. Still one time framing on the 5-minute, protecting every 5-minute low. Also protecting the ADMA on the 1-minute. But all right, guys, on that note, I'm going to call it there. I appreciate you guys being here. Hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe if you guys enjoy the content on YouTube. I will be streaming the rest of the day in Discord. If you guys want to support the channel, you can hit that like button, subscribe as well. You can check out our new series on YouTube coming to an end this week, actually. We have the first 4 videos are out. The 5th video is coming out on Thursday or Friday. We're aiming for Thursday. Hopefully it'll be out by then. And then the following Monday, next week, we'll do the Q&A for the Delta video. And that'll be it. That'll be the finished product for that series. If you guys would like to join Discord, it is 40% off, probably until like early December. We have code Black Friday 2025, 40% off anything on the site. And the annual plan is annual 2025. All one word, all caps, no spaces. But all right, guys, I appreciate you being here. I will be in Discord for the rest of the day. If you guys are not in Discord, I will catch you guys tomorrow. Be careful for the rest of the day. We had a very wide initial balance. We tried to break out of the initial balance with the D session, and it came back very quickly. Here is that rotation back to 70, so keep an eye on that. If you cannot stay above 70, it's going to do the same exact thing and go right back down to the value low, which currently is around the 40s. But all right, guys, enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you in Discord. If you're not in Discord, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace, everybody.